Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. WowMax1 here, bringing another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be doing another champion guide on another free mythical that you can earn on every single account in the game. This one coming from the Cursed City. Of course, talking about Spirit Affinity attack-based champion from the Demon Spawn faction, Karnage the Anarch. Today I'll be breaking down his full kit, showing you how to build him for maximum damage, and finally doing a Doom Tower hard and arena showcase. So with that, let's get into it. So Karnage was released in December of 2023 along with the Cursed City game mode where he is earnable through fragments in Cursed City Hard. Once you summon him, you'll find a champion that is very, very capable in PvE content, especially wave-based content, but really excels when it comes to the arena. As of the filming of this video, Karnage is currently one of the top meta damage dealers in the arena, even at the highest levels of live arena, with an incredible kit with good damage and with amazing disruption. So with that, let's take a look at his kit and see what makes him so special. So let's kick it off with the A1 on his base form, Suffer Slash. Attacks one enemy twice, has a 50% chance of removing a random buff from the target, and has an additional passive effect whenever an enemy hits an ally, including Karnage, has a 50% chance to counterattack using this skill, and that increases by 10% for each debuff on the enemy. So you have 5 debuffs on the enemy, it's going to be a 100% chance to counterattack with this A1. Does pretty good damage, has 15% ignore res built in on it, and once again is stripping the enemy of their buffs. Now, aside from the fact that this is an extremely powerful A1 on his base form, you'll also notice that his damage is based on both attack and accuracy. So we're going to get more into the multipliers when we talk about the build section later, but for now just know that in order to get the most out of this champion, he is going to be a little bit stat hungry. Great A1. Moving on now to the A2, Devilish Accord. Double hitter, before attacking, swaps HP with the enemy, steals all their buffs, and transfers all debuffs from Karnage to the target, and finally caps it off with a seal debuff for 2 turns, which is protected once it is placed. Now, for those of you who don't know, the seal debuff makes any gear or masteries that an enemy champ is using nullified except for stat bonuses. So let's say Karnage were to target an enemy damage dealer with this. That enemy damage dealer is in a savage or lethal set, which normally gives plus 25% ignore defense. In this case, if they get the seal debuff on them, they are not going to be receiving that bonus. Similarly, for their masteries, if they have Helm Smasher, they're not going to be proccing it while under the seal debuff, but if they have something like Flawless Execution, which is just a raw stat boost, that will still count. So this blocks any effects for masteries and gear except for stat boosts. And the cherry on top with this ability is that the seal debuff cannot be resisted or blocked if the target has 50% HP or less. 4-turn, booking down to a 3-turn cooldown. So hypothetical scenario, let's say Karnage is low HP. He is going to be targeting a Rotos. Rotos has an increased attack. Karnage has a decreased defense debuff on himself. He's going to swap their HP. He's going to apply the decreased defense debuff to the Rotos, steal the increased attack, hit him twice, apply the seal debuff, and completely swing the momentum in a match. This is an amazing ability that offers so much disruption and momentum swing, and you can see why this is such an incredible kit already for the arena. On his A3, and this is my favorite ability to use in the arena, Trinity of Pain, triple hitter. The first hit places block active skills for 2 turns, which is protected. The second hit places block active skills for 2 turns, which is protected. And the third hit steals 100% of the target's turn meter. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, and you have 30% ignore resistance built into this ability just to make sure you can land it on high resist targets. This is so incredibly powerful for locking down champions. That block active skills being protected means you can shut down a Siegfried, a Marichka, a Nais, a Rotos, a Taras. All of a sudden, all these extremely tanky, annoying champions that are so difficult to get rid of in the arena just fall right over. This is so powerful, and if he uses this on a target with a high turn meter, then he can pretty much go back to back. This is such an unbelievably powerful ability for the arena and for wave-based content. And finally, let's take a look at his passive on his base form, Avatar of Anarchy. Each hit that Karnage deals with skills has a 50% chance of applying a debuff spread effect taking a random debuff from the target and placing it on all enemies. And yes, if that debuff is protected on the target, it will be protected on enemies as well. So we're talking about block active skills and passive skills from that A3 or the seal can all be protected on all enemies. Extremely disruptive. If Karnage manages to take down the target, he has a 100% chance of applying a debuff spread effect and taking all buffs from the target and placing it on all enemies. So Karnage as a finisher, if he manages to take down a champion that has the block passive skills, block active skills, and the seal on them using the A2 or something like that, then it is pretty much a game over in the arena. This is so incredibly powerful and one of the reasons why Karnage is so feared in arena today. Now, as we switch over to the alternate form, because all we have left now is the Metamorph, notice the stat change that's going to occur here. So we're going to lose a little bit of defense, and we're going to gain a whole bunch of attack, which is really nice. So on his A1, Demon Stinger. Double hitter heals this champ by 20% of the damage inflicted. And once again, whenever Karnage or an ally is hit, he has a 50% chance to counterattack using the skill, which increases for each debuff on the enemy. So as we're seeing from his entire kit, he's all about getting debuffs up on the enemy, keeping them on the enemy, and then he has added bonus effects to a lot of his skills and kit that allow him to take advantage of all those debuffs. Incredibly powerful and great A1 on his alt form. On his A2 in his alternate form, Singularity of Pain. Attacks all enemies, is going to ignore shield buffs, 4-turn booking down and a 3-turn cooldown, and will also ignore Ally Protect if there's at least one debuff on the enemy, and will ignore Unkillable if there are 2 or more debuffs. So once again, that debuff synergy, making his A2 in his alternate form more powerful. 3-turn cooldown, great. AoE, great. Ignore shield, very relevant in arena. A2 is absolutely fine in my book. Moving on now to his A3 in his alternate form, Infernal Stars. AoE double hitter. If a target is killed while under 3 or more debuffs with the skill, will place a block revive debuff on them. Incredibly useful in today's meta. Great for locking down teams with a ton of revives or your Wukongs, whoever else. And heals Karnage for 30% of the damage dealt. 5-turn booking down, a 4-turn cooldown. This is by far the most used skill that I've used on Karnage in his alternate form. Generally, you want to keep him in his base form because that's where he has the most disruption and the most use for arena specifically. And then when you're ready to finally knock out a target and deliver that final blow for the block revive, you can switch over to his alternate form and use that A3. And finally, let's take a look at that passive in the alternate form, Unending Carnage. This champion's crit damage increases by 1% for every 3 points of accuracy that they have, and he also ignores 10% of the target's defense for each debuff that they are under. So once again, the best thing to do, keep him in that base form, try to apply as many debuffs as possible to the opposing team, then switch over, and you can easily get 100% ignore defense on an AoE with that A3. Incredibly powerful for the passive, and it also is nice that he's going to be getting more crit damage for accuracy since he will be built for accuracy given the way that his multipliers work. And lastly, looking at his aura, same in both forms, and that is 33% speed increase in arena battles, one of the best in the game. Looking now at his total stats, we remember from the form swap, he does lose some HP and defense in favor of more attack. So in that second alternate form, he's got almost 2,000, which is a crazy high number. Really great for his multipliers. And again, this is more of a finishing form with that passive that gives you more ignore percent defense for every debuff the enemy is under, and giving you that block revive if you have the conditions that are met. Going back to his first form, however, which is the one that he's mostly going to be in for arena, we have 19.1k HP and 1.1k defense, both acceptable for an attack-based damage dealer. Shouldn't be too difficult to keep this guy alive. Just under 1,500 attack, not the highest, but again, considering that he scales off accuracy and attack, he's still going to be doing really great damage. 100 speed, not the fastest, but given the way that he's going to be built for arena with Stone Skin ideally, and that counterattack passive that he has, this is actually not bad to have him a little bit slower. Now, in terms of what stats to prioritize on Karnage, you already know he's going to be scaling off attack and accuracy, and he needs accuracy in order to land a lot of his debuffs, which then have synergy with the rest of his kit. So having enough accuracy for whatever content you're pursuing or whatever elo you're in arena is very important on Karnage. After that, you want to build him like a traditional attack-based damage dealer. So attack is high, crit damage is high, crit rate 100%, and enough speed for whatever content you're pursuing. His survivability is going to be secondary to all of those other stats, and hopefully you're going to be able to get him in Stone Skin, so you won't need to worry about that as much. So given how stat-hungry Karnage is, it is really nice that we can actually earn his awakenings from Cursed City as a reward after you already acquire him from those chests, because it is extremely important to get him statted up for the arena. So now let's talk about gearing your Karnage for maximum damage in both PvE and the arena, and we'll start off in PvE. So as with most damage dealers, the best set that you can have for PvE is going to be 9-piece Merciless. It's just so good with the skill cooldown reduction and the extra turn. The 35% ignore defense is really what takes it over the top, along with the excellent stats. So if you have him in 9-piece Merciless, which you can also earn from Cursed City, that's going to be your best bet for purely PvE content. Beyond that, I would put him in 6-piece Merciless along with Zeal or Cruel, and after that I'd put him in one of the 4-piece sets, so Lethal or Savage, along with anything else to bolster his speed and accuracy, maybe even something like Perception. Now, if you don't have any ignore percent defense sets that you can put on your Karnage, then I would recommend putting him in straight Perception and minding his stats, so making sure that you get good attack, crit damage, and accuracy to build on him, because he does get some ignore percent defense from his alternate form once you have the enemies debuffed up. So if you can't put him in any sets, although it would surprise me if you are earning your Karnage on your account and you don't have a viable ignore percent defense set you can put him in, but that's beside the point. So you can put him in 6 pieces of Perception, and that will still work out fine for your Karnage. But if you are looking to bring your Karnage into the arena and have him be the meta damage-dealing monster that he currently is, then the best thing you can do is put him in 1-turn Stone Skin paired up with one of the ignore percent defense sets, so Lethal or Savage or Instinct. Now, I have seen some players building him in Swift Parry, and while this can be a surprise factor, it could potentially save him and maybe get another counterattack in if he's about to get one shot. Some people could even decide to build him in Swift Parry plus Stone Skin if you just want him being that disruptive, annoying, debuffing champ. You can choose to do that, but I think having that ignore percent defense and having him smack as hard as possible is going to be getting the most use out of him for arena. So now let's take a look at how I have my Karnage built. He is one of my top picks in live arena. I'm at around 13,000 for my elo right now, and he is an MVP for me. It's him, Marius, and Embrus that are my chosen damage dealers for most matches, all free champions as it were, but also picking one of them makes sure that your opponents don't have access to the champ, and I have lost plenty of matches to Karnage before I had him on my account, so now I'm just glad that he can be working for me instead of against me. But now, before we dive directly into the pieces and I show you how I have him statted out, let's talk a little bit about his multipliers, as I teased earlier in the video. So we know that he's going to be scaling off attack and accuracy. Now, for most attack-based champions, when you look at their abilities, it should just say attack right here. And all you have to do to calculate how much damage they're going to be putting out is figure out how much attack you have, and then there's going to be a multiplier on that attack based on whatever the ability is. Let's say it's 2.5. So then your attack stat times 2.5, and that's going to be the damage output of that ability. For Karnage, it is whatever the multiplier is, times attack plus accuracy. So his accuracy stat, whatever it is, treat it as if it's extra attack. So let's say this Karnage has 5,000 attack and 500 accuracy. Then for the sake of the multiplier, it's going to be 2.5 times 5,500. So when you're going to be building him out, because of the focus that you're going to need on accuracy, you may see your attack being a little bit lower than you're used to seeing on some of your attack-based damage dealers. Don't worry about that, because again, that accuracy is going to be added on top of that attack when it comes to the actual damage calculation for his abilities. So with that, let's take a look at my individual Karnage build. So we see here Stone Skin plus Lethal. This is definitely an arena Karnage that I'm building here. For the ring, we have attack, ideally with attack-based Ascension. We have crit damage Ascension. For banner, we want accuracy with accuracy Ascension. For gloves, crit damage with crit damage Ascension. For chest, we want accuracy with accuracy Ascension. And for the boots, either speed or attack percentage, depending on how much speed you have already on your gear and how slow or how fast you want your Karnage. For my total stats, now notice I only have him 2-star awakened, so he's still missing crit damage. He's still missing accuracy from that 5-star blessing. But we have him just under 58k HP, just under 5k attack, 2.1k defense, 257 speed, crit capped, 256 crit damage, and just under 400 accuracy. Now, 400 accuracy may seem a little bit low for the arena, but keep in mind, he does have that built-in ignore percent resistance on some of his abilities, so this is actually quite a bit. And once I get that 5-star ascension on him, or 5-star awakening on him rather, this will be plenty for the elo that I'm currently using him in. And he is absolutely devastating right now, and I cannot wait to get him more awakened. And once again, for the purposes of calculating my damage multipliers, if we're calling this 5,000 and this 400, effectively it's going to be 5,400 attack times whatever the multiplier is, because we are adding that accuracy stat to the attack stat. For relics on your Karnage the Anarch, chances are you're probably going to be bringing him into the arena. If you have him, he's an incredible champ there. So for the arena, my opinion, best relic that you can put on him is going to be the Wand of Submission. He is so incredible that keeping him away from crowd control and making sure that he can keep counterattacking and spreading debuffs is going to be the most important thing. You do not want him getting sheeped, so Wand of Submission is going to be the best option there. If you do not have Wand of Submission, in that case, I would probably end up going with anything that's going to be increasing my attack or my accuracy. Both of those he obviously benefits from. So if you are missing some kind of accuracy breakpoint, you can put him even in something as simple as a Molten Death Bell. If you happen to have Gore Crescent, obviously anything with attack or crit damage primary is going to be fine on him. But in my opinion, the best thing you can go for, once again, Wand of Submission, #1 by a mile. And after that, anything that's going to be improving his stats, even if it's as simple as a Molten Death Bell or even a Malefic Talon. When it comes to blessings on Karnage, there's a lot of good choices you can go with, and it really just depends on what you want to do. If you are only bringing him for PvE content for whatever reason, you can put him in Intimidating Presence, Heaven Cast, you can put him in Soul Reap if you want to. If you have him 6-star Awaken, you can put him in Crushing Rend, all good options. If you're bringing him into the arena, however, which I think is more likely for most accounts, at 6-star or even below, you can put him in Polymorph, obviously a fine choice anytime that you want to. Soul Reap, still fine. You can even put him in Ward of the Fallen if you have him at 6-star, that would work too. But in my opinion, the best option is going to be Lightning Cage, because you want him under Stone Skin and safe from any kind of crowd control. That way he can do the most with his kit. He's going to be spreading debuffs, he's going to be counterattacking, he's going to be doing tons of damage, removing buffs on the opposing team. Keeping Stone Skin on your Karnage is paramount for me in the arena, and I think this is the best option you can go with. And finally, to round out the build, let's take a look at his Masteries. Moving myself here. All right, so I ended up foregoing the crit from Masteries simply because I already have enough from my gear, so I ended up getting a little bit more attack for him. I did end up going with Shield Breaker, even though he does have that alternate form A2 that ignores shields. But most of the time when I'm using my Karnage, he's going to be in his base form, so this is still extremely helpful. Came down, more damage from Ruthless Ambush, and of course, we're going for as much ignore percent defense as possible, so Helm Smasher is going to be amazing on him. You definitely want to go with Methodical, because that A1 really starts to add up with all those counterattacks. For secondary tree, you can choose to go down the defense tree. You can come in, pick up something like Improved Parry, and then go down and pick up one of the counterattack masteries right here if you want to. But I decided to double down on more accuracy, which is more damage for him, as we already know from his multipliers. So I came in, Pinpoint, Charge Focus, Swarm Smiter, Lore of Steel, and then he is putting up some devastating and really good debuffs. So Master Hexer is really, really helpful for that. Before the first showcase in today's video, we're going to be going into Doom Tower Hard on the 112th floor. This is going to be one of the freeze floors. A lot of debuffs going out there. Very annoying passives like Tormund, for example, that freezes your champions and that revives. Incredibly annoying. The team that we've built around Karnage here features Empress for some additional AoE. We've got Lydia to support the damage. We've got Arbias that gives us not only increased attack, but also increased accuracy, both of which we know boost Karnage's damage. And then we've got our Ancora there as our reviver. So we're going to be going in on manual just to show off how useful Karnage is when it comes to AoE scenarios or any kind of a wave-based content. So let's go ahead and boost our turn meter and our damage. Then we are going to set up with our Lydia. I'm probably going to choose to have our Empress nuke right now just to get through this wave. And then we can move on to the next one that features the Torments here. All right, let's go with just see. So, 65, 70, 65,000-ish damage. Very acceptable, very respectable from Karnage there. So here we go. We've got the 3 Torments on the opposing side. Very annoying to deal with. We had Wand of Submission that we have on Empress, our Bias, and Karnage all kicking back some of the freezes, which is nice, of course. But this is the part that I really wanted to show. So we have A3, and we're going in on this Torment right here. So 1, 2, 3, and now we've spread. We've blocked all active skills on the opponents. All of them are protected, as you can see. So now we have this vulnerable target right here with all these debuffs on it. There we have the counterattack coming into play, unfortunately freezing our boy Karnage right there. But I'm going to continue stacking debuffs on this champion right here in anticipation of Karnage delivering the final blow and then spreading them to everything else. So right now, we're just waiting for Karnage to come back. Let's boost the speed, and here we go. We're about to see all of the excellent spreading right here. Look at that. Spreading all the debuffs to the opposing wave. Now, there's no more Torment Revive. There's no more freezes on the opposing side. Nothing. They're just completely taken out, completely made useless. So now we've seen how effective he is at spreading debuffs and how devastating that can be. We're back again at the first wave on this floor. I restarted it because I want to show off the damage that he can do. The first time it was Empress that cleared. This time we're going to have it be Karnage. So we're going to get some debuffs on the opponents, try to stack up as many as possible in anticipation of Karnage going in. Maybe we'll do a little bit more damage to them, give him a little bit of help. Now we're going to switch him over to his alternate form. We see tons of debuffs on the opposing side, all good to go. And we're going to go in with the A3. We see block revives. There was 250,000 damage from single hits there. Absolute ton of damage coming in from Karnage. So he's great at wave clear, really good at AoE damage, especially when you pair him up with good debuffers. So for the first arena showcase in today's video, we're going to be going up against the team featuring Armans, Narcissus, Ancora, and Marichka. Marichka having an incredibly broken and annoying passive whenever she goes down, rezzing the entire rest of her team. The team that we've built around Karnage features our Bias, secondary damage dealer, and Onryo Ieyasu. Really like using him. And then we have Fabian there for more disruption. So let's go in on manual and see what we can do. So the first thing I want to make sure that we can do is hopefully outspeed the Armand so he can't lock down or sheep anybody on my team. We are able to outspeed, and now here we go. So we're going to go ahead and first do that. Then I'm going to take out the Ancora. Why not? Now we're going to go in with the Karnage, and we're going to use that amazing A3 that was able to put up the block passives first, and that is then able to take out the Marichka with the remaining damage on those 3 hits. That passive then translates to the rest of the team, which is really nice. But the best part was that the Marichka went down without rezzing the Ancora because her passive was already shut down. So here we have him coming in with the counterattacks. We have counterattacking from the Armans. We have counterattacking from the Narcissus, doing absolutely devastating damage right there. And there we have it. Because Karnage was able to shut down Marichka's passive, he is then able to prevent Ancora from getting revived, and the opposing team just falls apart from the damage and the counterattacks between Ieyasu and Karnage. Next up, we're going to be going against the team featuring Arbiter, Cheshire Cat, Fabian, and Siegfried. Siegfried with one of the most feared and annoying passives in Arena today. So we're going to hopefully showcase how, even without touching that Siegfried, we are still able to completely nullify what he brings to the team. Unfortunately, the Siegfried bringing the block debuffs right there, but here we go. Increasing speed. Let's hopefully remove that. Sure enough, it's gone. Good news. The Cheshire Cat also has, so we see just the pause right there. We see that the counterattack from Karnage was able to do 40,000 damage to that Arbiter. and that's without any kind of debuffs on her. So a lot of damage coming in from those counterattacks. But as I was going to say, Cheshire Cat also with a passive that keeps him alive. So we have two champions here that we're hoping to block the passive of in order to pretty much end this where it stands. So we're going to go ahead and take out the Arbiter right now. Now we're going to use that A3 against the Fabian here. 1, 2, and we have both passives blocked. So now we can just play this out on auto and watch it as we finish it up. We've got the counterattacks coming in from our Karnage, slowly doing the damage. And they already still have their passives blocked. There we have the Seal coming in. Now that's going on the Cheshire Cat because that was transferred. And there we go. So here we see exactly why Karnage is so in the meta right now, so powerful against some of the most annoying and difficult to deal with passives in the entire game. Siegfried and Cheshire Cat, he is so good, especially because his A3 debuffs are not reflected back on Wand of Submission. And Wand of Submission is on virtually every champion in Arena right now, especially at the highest levels. So having Karnage be able to slip past that and not have block active skills or block passives or Seal reflected back on him using the wand is so good for him, and it's what really allows him to stand out as a debuffing damage dealer in today's arena. And there you have it, everybody. Karnage the Anarch. Free champion, earnable on every account. Highly recommend it. One of the best arena damage dealers in the game today. If you liked today's video, please consider liking, subscribing for more content like this in the future. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any other guides or showcases that you'd like to see on my channel. Thank you for watching today's video. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.